Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland, New York, New Jersey,
Indianapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan,
Iowa,
Massachusetts,
Georgia, Canada,
our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesia,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head,
Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club,
and Wilderness Lodge.
and you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening
to
my Welcome home, neighbors, to episode 145 of the Community Hall Live podcast. My name is Chad Pennycuff, and I am your host tonight. And tonight we're talking all about some recent dining reviews in Walt Disney World. So if you've got a restaurant and some comments to share, we'll go ahead and drop those in there. If you want to make a comment on what we're talking about, it's an interactive show. We encourage you to tune into us live. We're here almost most Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. Not all. I know we'll be taking off Super Bowl Sunday because ain't nobody wanting to compete with that kind of a show for eyeballs and ratings and attention that night. But we are here most Sunday nights at 9 o'clock, and we'd love to have you come in and join us. Before we jump into today's show, huge world of shout out of thanks to our sponsors over at World of DVC, and specifically Monera Financial. If you're looking to buy a resale contract, and maybe you've been looking at buying direct because you know Disney will give you direct financing, and timeshares aren't the easiest thing in the world to get financed. If you're looking to buy resale, Monera's got your back. They finance every single DVC resort that's out there, and they're also tightly integrated over at the website over at dvcresalemarket.com. So if you look at a contract that you think you like, the payment estimators and all of that is right there built into their sites. MoneraFinancial.com. Let them know you heard about them here on the My DVC Points Community Hall live show. And in tonight's show, I've got two expert co-hosts that are well, they got a pretty refined talent and a pretty good judge of character and a judge of palates here. So let me welcome to my co-host tonight, and that would be Mr. Rai Kim, all the way from Honolulu, Hawaii. And then we'll bring in Mr. David Kluver, all the way from Fort Lauderdale, Florida tonight. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Chad. How are you?
Aloha, Chad. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, Dave, do you want to kick this one off with a restaurant that you've been to here recently?
Yeah, definitely. And I want to say, I don't know if I've ever said this before. I love the intro music. It's just done so well. I really enjoy hearing it every time it's on.
Yeah, that was just a little sidetrack here, but we had a guy who used to work for Disney doing audio productions on their shows. And he blended together, like, I don't know, my first 60 people that did my normal podcast show openers into that, because it's a community hall live show with all the different people and voices. And that's why we encourage everybody to comment. So that's what that's really echoing. So we're a community show. We're all about everybody that's out there tuning in. We try to get as many opinions into this show as we possibly can, because I'm just one voice. I'm an idiot on the internet. I could be right. I could be wrong. Y'all can be the judge on that. But, so, Dave, what do you got for us for our first restaurant tonight?
So I'm probably going to go with Jiko. So as a lot of you probably know, my favorite restaurants in Disney World are Boma and Jiko, which are both at the Animal Kingdom Resort. So two completely different restaurants, same flavors, except one's a buffet and one's just a sit-down restaurant. So I love both of them. We had gone to Jiko a few months ago, and it was the first time since they reopened after COVID, and we didn't have a good experience at all, which was very disappointing.
Like right after COVID?
No, they were probably one of the last restaurants to open after COVID. So it wasn't too long ago now. Maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago, I think we probably went.
Okay.
It ended up just being my mother and I, because the boys didn't want to go, so they went back to the room or whatever. So it was the two of us. So it started from the very beginning. We got a waitress that just rubbed me the wrong way, and she kind of had an attitude, and that can affect your whole dinner. So I had that going for me, and I don't know if that caused the food not to be so great, but the whole experience kind of just went downhill so much that I was like, I think I'm going to be done with this because of the experience. So as we're eating dinner, a couple sat down next to us, and they were from Miami. We just started talking about something and clicked with that couple. And we had such a good time talking to them and laughing, making fun of everything that was going on, all the problems and everything. So that kind of helped fix it a little. But I really had a disappointment when I left. I didn't feel like it seems like all the menus in the restaurants have been getting smaller and smaller around Disney World. And
Yeah, I think
this,
that's a post-COVID thing. That
yeah,
they're kind of
you're seeing
shrinking the
that.
menus to have a reduced supply chain and that
Correct.
kind of a deal, right?
So it seemed like they didn't have such good choices like we did in the past. So that didn't help. So I just figured out something to eat and it was just okay. So we left there with that mindset that, well, I'm not going to be in a rush to go there again. So we went to Disney for Christmas and it was all of us, my sister and everybody. And she's like, well, let's just go. So we go and we sat up in a booth in the back and we had such a pleasant waitress. She was so bubbly and nice, like what you expect.
Got
And
it.
right away, my attitude was so much better. Like, oh, thank God.
So what'd you
So
have that night? Yeah.
I had the did I tell you? I forget what it was called now. Some steak, similar to a steak. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a meat dinner, and
Yeah.
it was absolutely fantastic. But like going into that, we got appetizers, which all the appetizers were great. And then we saw them serve some different bread from what we got served in the beginning, and we asked her what it was, and the lady's like, "Well, that's the what's when you can't eat something specific in the restaurant."
Oh, like allergy friendly, right? Or
Like a certain wheat or something like that.
okay, gluten free, something along those lines.
Gluten-free bread. She's like, "Do you want to try it? It's actually pretty good." So I said, we ordered that. She brought it to the table. It was actually really good. So everything was good. We're having a good time. She brought a bunch of different wines, pairing to what we had. I think my mom had scallops and we all kind of got like one thing each from the menu so that we could all try it. Food was very, very good. We had a great time. We
That's
got
kind of what I expect from Jiko.
it's exactly what you expect from Jiko. And it kind of revived it for me because it was just such a disappointing experience the last time. So between the waitress, between the food, it just everything seemed a lot better. We left with a pleasant experience, and it's back on my list again. So I'm very happy.
yeah, I haven't been there in a while, but simply due to the fact that it's super expensive. And I'd have to have somebody going with me that wants to spend that kind of money. So it sounds like I need to put it back into my rotation just to come back into it because I've been there a couple times. It's always been phenomenal when I've been there. It's like a great mix and fusion of flavors.
Yes, for sure.
And I'm not a big wine person, but all the flavors, my steak was really good. Everything was really good. It was just a nice, elevated, relaxed, so much like less hustle and bustle of Boma because I feel like you just kind of get cattle card out there at Boma
Yeah,
and waded through and pushed through the buffet and you're just it's a better dining experience all the way
it's
around to
two
me.
different experiences in dining for sure. Both have great flavors, but two different experiences. You don't feel rushed. You feel very relaxed, and it was wonderful. It was really
Yeah.
nice.
And here, my buddy Dan Kenny, who's also a Disney guy, and shout out to Unlocking the Magic travel agency there, Dan. He lives up the road from me, so he says, "Let's go, Chad." And dude, I'm on it. Let's plan a time and go. And uh, Dan Austin saying we had a fantastic meal at Jiko when we were there in November. We had the kids with us, which I think is an interesting choice because I don't know that I would pay to Jiko prices to bring kids, but apparently the Austins want to, give their kids some elevated experience. 9, 6, 5, and 2. And the bread service was great. Love giraffe bread. Holly ordered the best dish, the short rib.
My son got the short rib. Always does.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely.
Right. Have you been there yet?
Well, this being a dining show, I'm kind of ashamed to admit that we've never been to the Animal Kingdom Lodge to go eat.
Oh no. Can you
Oh
drop
my
him down
gosh.
off the podcast, Chad,
You
please?
might have to kick me out now. But no, I've always wanted
No.
to go to one of those restaurants, but our kids, well, when we go to Disney World, it's usually in August, and Animal Kingdom is just so hot. So it's not a primary theme park for us during that time. But we go
this
to
is
the park like once, and we've been to some of the restaurants inside the park, but it's kind of hard to get away to the lodge.
yeah,
unless
this
you
is at
stay
Jumbo
there.
House though. So you're
Yeah.
you're completely safe from the theme park. You're gonna walk in, it's all gonna be air conditioned and glorious.
But
And
no,
you
I
can still see
definitely want to
animals.
go. I definitely want to go to those restaurants because you hear all the great things about
The flavors
Boma,
are,
the Chicos.
and so as far as Boma, it has the most amount of menu items in a buffet out of any hotel. the choices are absolutely incredible there. So it's really
Yeah,
great.
Dan Austin says they start the meal with a hot towel, which
Yes.
is traditional there.
Yes, that's at Jiko. Yes.
And
Fancy.
yeah, he's also saying the kids' meals were great. Pizza, steak skewers. Oh, my son would be all over that. And a
My kids
wonderful
loved it.
dessert that was interactive.
Yeah.
Ooh, you
My
get to
son
play with
only
your
eats
food.
mac and cheese. That's all he eats. So I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Disney. They know how to make mac and cheese for the little ones as well. And okay, so Ryan, what have you been to recently? What's something that's positive here?
well, recently I've only been to the Aulani restaurants here, but it's been about 5 months since we've been to Disney World, and I'm going to start my point with Shikisai. So that's the new sushi place in Epcot at the Japan Pavilion.
Ooh, okay.
So for a Asian family from Hawaii, one of the biggest challenges for us is, our kids and my wife. We love, hunting for good Asian restaurants in Orlando. Well, mainly in the Disney World property. And when we went in August, the Shikisai was, I think, only a few weeks old when they opened, and we were able to get a reservation, and it's a beautiful location. We got
It really-
a window table overlooking, where the fireworks site is.
So it
And
replaced the part in the front where all the glass is? Because there's like three
on the
different
second
areas.
floor. So
Yes.
it's on the second floor. So I don't know
Towards the
what
front of
floor
the
is there
glass?
before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
I only know that place for firework viewing. This is what I love about our show and having multiple diverse people on there, because I would have just slept on that place. I'd been like, sushi, I'm out, and we'd never cover it. So I'm good to hear
love
like
it.
we're getting an authentic review here. So go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, prices obviously are kind of high, but I would say, as sushi and Japanese food connoisseurs, especially from Hawaii, the place is legit. We've
Okay.
tried the sushis, we tried the noodles, we tried the fried tempuras, the takoyaki, which is the octopus, the tofu, and they were all really good. And it was one of the
Sounds
best
amazing.
dining that we had during our last trip that we had. It was awesome.
Got it. So my friend Aaron, who lives up the road from me, hit me up the other day to go to Disney Springs to the new Eat restaurant, EET, and it's an Indian restaurant. And for those of you who've been longtime listeners of the show, I kind of work in the IT business and call center technology. So I have a lot of coworkers from India. And when they join the team, birthdays, leave the teams, whatever, we all go celebrate. And I usually get drugged to an Indian restaurant. And that's usually the way it works. I got great news for you guys. I get drugged to Indian restaurants, and you do not have to drag me back to eat. The food was that good. The bread service was good, not on par with Sanaa. Okay, let's not go creating any crazy talk now. Okay, but it was really good. I had a what is it, a non-chicken pizza, and that was really good. And remember, I don't like Indian food, so for me to go in there and say I tried a few things over at Eat and say it was really good, it was really good. Aaron loves Indian food. He had glowing reviews of it as well. And I don't think I tried too much off of his plate because it's just not my thing. But we both really liked it. And what I will tell you is the service over there. This is a quick service restaurant, but they still come on around and check on you just like it was table service, but there's no place to leave a tip because you've already paid. But the service over there was phenomenal. The food was phenomenal. It's in an old Wolfgang Puck location, which is right up in the far, far, far corner of Disney Springs, close to where you would come in from the Saratoga entrance. When you go through security right there, Eat is like right there. It's not far from Earl of Sandwich and the little merry-go-round thing that they have out there for the kids. And it's not too far from the Goofy's Candy Shop. It's way up there in that corner. So when I have to park an orange or lime garage, it was walking halfway across the planet, but it's still worth it. So I would tell you guys to go check out the restaurant. And Dan Kenny saying that's Manish, I can't even pronounce it, restaurant, Iron Chef. Okay,
Cool.
Maybe that's why I liked it and it was so good, because you got an Iron Chef caliber of person who's opening up the restaurant and doing it in there is as well. But yeah, so that's good to know that it was an Iron Chef, and I'm not just making stuff up, that it was really, really, really good. And So yeah, that was my next restaurant there. So Dave, where else have you been to here recently?
At Christmas time, we also had a reservation. I think it was on Christmas Day. So that was on Monday. We had gone to see Cirque du Soleil. No, Cirque du Soleil was Sunday. So Monday, we went to Disney Springs, and then we left for a reservation at Toledo's over at Coronado Springs in the tower. And this is my second time there now. I think the first time was with you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've been up there so many times from people being in town and like listener meetups or various different
We
things.
were
It's
with
like
Vicky and a bunch of people.
yeah, I've gotten drug up there a few times. It's not a place I would choose to go to because of the expense. And again, you don't have Walt Disney World vacation budget 365 days a year. I wish I did, but I
So
don't. And
they're considerably cheaper than Jiko. I had the hanger steak, which is like a skirt steak, and it was absolutely delicious, and it was $35. So the pricing there is actually not bad at all.
no, but my issue is by the time you add on tax, tip, and drink, you're $60 out the door. And
well,
that's
at any
just,
restaurant you have to pay that too. But
Yeah, you can't eat
eh,
anywhere anymore without paying that kind of money.
yeah,
But
yeah, not
so
at Disney World you can't, but I can go locally without that. So yeah,
well, maybe in Florida, not over here in Hawaii.
yeah,
not down here either. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know where
Yep.
he's going. He might be going to Chipotle.
yeah. I'm definitely going to Chipotle. That's at least a once a week deal. You can guarantee that, Dave. And
I wish we had a Chipotle here.
yeah, there's not one on the island.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, I feel sorry for you. I might have to bring you some. Like,
Please do. Freeze dry it with some in and out.
yeah, and Just Bear Stuff says she loves Toledo. Definitely a great value when compared to the other sit down restaurants. So she's kind of backing you up there, Dave. That
Yeah,
it's
that's definitely cheaper, and it seems like it's just as a high end as the more expensive ones. So we were actually really happy with the pricing there. So I
okay.
got the steak. Somebody got the scallops. Just like we always do a variety because then we can just eat each other's food and try everything. So we had appetizers. The dinner, the food portions for dinner, or not the portions, but the food for dinner was better than the appetizers for whatever reason. But service was absolutely fantastic. I wish I could remember her name. I'd give her a shout out. She was wonderful. She came from the new restaurant from Toy Story over at Hollywood Studios, where everything's
Yeah,
small.
Woody's Roundup Barbecue.
So she was working there with her boyfriend, and then she was able to transfer to Toledo's, and she's very happy there. And it was a great experience. We sat by the window where you could oversee all of the park, and had a great meal. It was very good. We really were happy with Toledo's. Definitely, if you haven't tried it, you should try it.
Yeah. I mean, I had decent food there, decent experience. The views up there are phenomenal, and you
And
can
the bar next
almost
door too.
yeah, the bar out there has got a great viewing and all of that. If you haven't been there, it's definitely one to go check off the list, 100%. And Mark Koppel says, I'm doing the McDonald's on Disney property. I avoid that McDonald's. It's like 2 times the price of a normal McDonald's, Mark. So
Is that
yeah.
the solar one?
Yeah, that's the solar one right
I
there.
actually
by
like that
Animal Kingdom.
McDonald's.
Was that the really huge one?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually one of my
Ah.
favorite McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's so nice and clean and futuristic compared to all the others.
Yeah. The
Cool.
prices are just double what a normal McDonald's is because it's on Disney property. So
It's McDonald's. I don't pay attention to it. I don't know. McDonald's.
Yeah. I don't. And so Just Bear Stuff says very slept on, and the views are top notch up there at Topolino's as well. So yeah, definitely. Ryan, where else have you been here recently?
So, quick note about going back to Shikisai. I also forgot to mention the service. Yeah, the service was fantastic. All the
Okay.
cast members are Japanese. Inside, the decor, you feel like you were kind of like in Japan. So it's kind of like that whole experience. But
That's
anyway,
wonderful. Yeah.
I'll stick to the Asian theme and pick Morimoto's Asia in Disney Spring.
Love me
So-
some more Morimoto's Asia.
Wow. I mean, walking around Disney Spring in August is so hot. So any restaurant with the air conditioning is awesome. But when
Agreed.
we got in there, the restaurant was beautiful. But more than that, the food, the ramen was one of the best ramens that I had, including the ones we have in Hawaii. So it was really tasty. The service was really good. I mean, it was a little bit pricey, but definitely well worth the trip to Morimoto's.
Now, when I go to Morimoto's, it's usually with a group of people from the same convention. It's usually with like Terry Weaver and people from his thing convention. And so what we normally do is just order up a ton of food and like appetizers, everything. Terry gets a duck. He calls ahead of time and has him save him a duck. And so you get to try the roasted duck, the ones that you see hanging there. And I've tried like everything there. The lettuce cups, they converted me to a lettuce cup fan. Okay. I now get it when I go to like Pei Wei or PF Chang's. And I never used to before I had it at Morimoto's. The duck, everything there that I've tasted, really good. Not a huge like Asian food fan. I just haven't developed the palate, but that place could get me too. Okay. And I think it's another one of those celebrity chef high-end places they know how to do it and do it right. And I need to just quit going to the junk places, I guess. And that's kind of my issue. I don't know, but I'll fall on the sword on that one there, but I'm with you.
I went there a long time ago and the food was great. And the only thing I remember that I did not like was I ordered the tuna tartare, and the way they brought it, it was like mushed, like almost whipped and blended. Yeah, I didn't like it at all. And I'm a big, like anywhere I can get tuna tartare, I'll get tuna tartare. And I didn't like it. It's so much that I remember that I didn't like it.
Wow.
But otherwise, everything else there was really good.
Yeah, I'm not usually a big fan of those big chain
Me neither.
Asian places like PF Chang's.
Yeah.
But I think Morimoto's is a step above PF Chang's, and definitely looking forward to that edition at Downtown Disney and Disneyland with Din Tai Fung. That's going to be there. That's going to be really good too.
I love sushi. Love sushi.
Yeah, I did have the Wagyu beef there, and you knew it was legitimate Wagyu beef because it was sold like by the ounce. And so it was cut in like little tiny strips and cooked on a hot rock right in front of you, and was really, 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 really good. And, I guess a lot of times when you see Wagyu beef there, it's not legit from Japan Wagyu beef, but theirs was, and it was priced accordingly. So, yeah.
For someone who has beef about paying $60 for a meal, I can't get myself to buy Wagyu beef. It's just too expensive.
It is okay, but I had to try it once. And
Then he goes to Chipotle for 3 weeks straight.
Yep,
to make up for it.
Right.
So,
Since we're talking about Disney Springs at Christmas time, we also went to Jalelo. We call it Jalelo as a joke.
Haleo.
My sister was just in New York, and she went to like their main place up there, and she said it was phenomenal. So we had been there once before with some people that work over at oh my God, my brain. What's the restaurant that I like? A Boathouse. And then so we were there at Christmas. So we went straight. If you walk, you go straight to the back. By the back doors, there's a bar back there. That's like the second bar. So we all were at the back of that corner. We had a lovely bartender, and we got appetizers, and all of the appetizers were absolutely fantastic. So we had drinks and appetizers there, and it was really, really, really a good time. She was nice. The scenery was nice, and the appetizers were wonderful.
and if I remember correctly, that's kind of a tapas restaurant, which meant you're supposed to order like 3 or 4 different appetizers and make a meal out of it. And
No, when we were there for dinner, they convinced us to order this big, huge steak thing that was like way too much food. And then you get like a bunch of sides with it. But I didn't like the way they presented it the time we actually ate for dinner. This last time was just appetizers only. So unless it's different now, Chad, the dinner was like 2 years ago. So I'm not
yeah,
sure.
it's been pre-COVID, pre-reopening of COVID when I was there last.
Yeah.
And it was all tapas. And that was the main part of the menu. And that's what they really encourage you to get
Gotcha.
as well. We have another comment here about Big River Grill closing. I guess tonight is the last night for Big River Grill. And
That's
Dave, when you
bad.
and I were, what's that?
That place.
What's that?
Who? Right?
Oh, go ahead, Rye.
No, I said that's sad. I felt like that was one of those places that you could go easily without a dining reservation.
Oh, boy.
It was a pretty good place for people to go watch sports and stuff.
Well, Chad has a story about that.
Yeah. Dave and I were actually staying at Boardwalk, and long park day, had a room there. So before I even moved here, and we were just dead tired from beating ourselves up in the park and did not want to, but we were hungry. So I was like, hey, call down there. Can I get on the wait list? No, you have to come down here. What? It's like a 30-minute walk from Boardwalk down to my room to the front to just get on the wait list and wait.
He's like, I'm in a room. I'm not just calling you. I'm in a room here at the hotel.
I'm like staying here. I'm a registered guest. I'm calling you from the hotel room. And they're like, no, you got to come down. And I'm like, well, no, over my dead body. Like, that's just such poor customer service. So for me to hear that they went under with doing poor customer service policies
surprised.
like that, I kind of get it. I kind of get why. And I'm like, okay, let's broom them out and let's get somebody in who knows how to run shop and knows how to do a business well. I think I ate there once afterwards and the food was just okay. It wasn't like killer to die for. There was nothing special about it. It was just a bar burger. And I was like, okay, yeah, you know, you've got policies that are not super customer friendly. And
it put a bad taste in my mouth. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we ended up eating that night at, you know, sandwiches from the Boardwalk Bakery or whatever it was before it was the Boardwalk Bakery.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense. I think that Boardwalk area is doing a lot of transformation, and maybe something really good will pop up.
I hope it just doesn't take 4 years to get here.
Yeah.
Because converting the ESPN to that cake shop still hasn't happened.
And Flying Fish was closed.
Yeah, Flying Fish had not opened back up when we were there. And so, yeah, it's man, it sounds cold, but when you've had a bad customer experience there, okay, I hope you go and somebody comes back in who can do this a little bit more friendly, or Disney opens up their own restaurant in that space. Something along those lines is kind of what
Frederica looks like she had the same problem.
Yeah, she could be talking about Boardwalk Pizza Window. At the Boardwalk Pizza Italian place, they refused to put me on a wait list.
Oh, pizza place. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's just not a good experience when you're a registered guest at a resort. That's like, I get that they're for everybody at Walt Disney World, but they're also at a resort for resort guest convenience. That's kind of the point of having a restaurant in your resort. And you're not fully a resort if you don't have a restaurant. You're just a hotel at that point in time. So I'm like, I don't get that. Like they should be taking priority service of the registered guests that are there. That's kind of my take on it. So yeah, not too worried about that. I did something the other day that it was the first time the family was here. Laura found this and I didn't even know about it. And it's really kind of shocking. So let me come back in. I think I can share a photo of this. But apparently up at the Coca-Cola desk, you can get this Coke Flight that's 16 flavors of Coke around the world. And they have them pre-poured in these little trays and a card to tell you what flavor is what. And some of the same flavors that show up at Epcot are also here. So you had the Beverly, but you had a bunch of different more flavors. And that part was really, really, really interesting to me. And I want to have a meetup up here and just live stream everybody trying this and tasting it because it was such a good time. If you haven't done this from the World of Coke observation deck up at Disney Springs, right there by, I think it's the Orange Garage is where you can park and get to it really quick, then I would highly suggest trying this because we did it and had a blast. And
you used to be able to get it with alcohol.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It like the drink. It seems like that would be kind of. I know you could get like a rum and Coke up there, but I didn't know you'd get the World of Tour with like a world alcohol kind of.
I don't remember the specifics, but I know they stopped all the alcohol part after a while or something.
Yeah, I know you can still get some kind of alcohol up there as well, and so that was kind of a unique experience, and I would highly recommend that to anybody as well.
So let me ask you a question, Chad. You live there, so you have the ability to go anywhere you want. Where do you find yourself going most of the time if you want to go for a bite?
Like, it is my hands down. Like, if I'm going to Walt Disney World to eat, there's a 90% chance I am going to Sanaa unless somebody is in town that says, hey, Chad, let's meet for dinner at so-and-so. Because I'll probably never tell you no. If you want to meet me for dinner someplace, like I'll go anywhere and try it. But if I have to pick, it's Sanaa, 100%.
Is it the food or the bread service?
It's the bread service. It's because that's something I can't get any place else that I know of, right? With all the different sauces, and I've gone enough that I know which sauces I like, which breads I like, and I can order just those a la carte. I don't have to pay for the whole bread service. So I met Jill there from the podcast team, I think last Friday night, and my bill was $30 for the breads that I ordered, the sauces that I ordered, and a drink and tip. And so that's not a bad eat out, sit down meal for me. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Very cool. And if you guys haven't been to Steakhouse 71, it's actually really good. Great service there, great food. They did a nice job revamping it. So that's if you guys haven't been, it's a place
Yeah,
to
we
try.
went to Steakhouse 71 for lunch during
Okay.
our last trip, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Food was so good, and sadly, I've never been to the Wave, but I guess some of the menu items still stayed around, and we got to try the bacon and eggs, but the burgers, and we didn't try any of the steaks because it was for lunchtime. But the dessert, the 55-layer whatever cake, was awesome, and yeah, the food was great.
So the Wave had a noodle dish that was phenomenal. Had an egg in it, like one of those like typical. And they did take that one off the menu when they transferred over to the new restaurant. But otherwise, there's been a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, really good food there. I agree.
Yeah, the pork belly made it. The bacon and eggs or steak and eggs made it from the menu. It's taken me about 4 trips to where I like it because the first 2 weren't so positive. And it all boils down to ordering a high-end steak at a high-end steak restaurant, and it tastes like propane gas grill. Like it's the worst thing you can do to a piece of meat is put propane gas on it and cook it on propane gas, like hardwood or nothing here, guys. Like
I enjoyed
I
mine
agree.
just fine. I didn't have a problem with it. But the cake's not the exact same cake, in case you didn't know. Remember, Chad? They changed
it's not the exact same cake as Top of the World, but it is a very similar. And our friend Dan Kenny has made both of those because he used to work there for a while.
That's so cool.
And yeah, so it's kind of like you can know some of the people who make the cake that you love, and that's kind of an amazing thing. He's now like graduated, and his travel agency is full time, and it's doing really, really well over there at Unlocking the Magic. So go Dan, and glad to see all that is going well for you there. And but I will speak positively now of Steakhouse 71, and I still like the. Oh, it's the potato dish. That's it's with the sliced potatoes. The potatoes au gratin.
You went crazy over that.
Yeah, I love that. I love the steak sauces that you can get.
Yeah,
I think it's just a couple bucks more to get the flight of sauces.
Worth it.
And you can try them all. So that's another key point there. And see, Annalie from the team was in town, and I met her and her husband there as well, and had a lovely dinner as well over at Steakhouse 71. So that was a lot of fun as well.
And if you just want to have drinks, that bar is beautiful. That's a great bar to sit and have drinks at.
Yeah, okay, I'll take your word for that, because I'm not a sit at the bar and just have drinks kind of guy, but not my thing. But I think I would rather go to Geyser Point, or I'd rather go to Wilderness Lodge. And I forget the little name of the bar that's up there between Artist Point and Whispering Canyon. There's a little tiny nook bar in there, and that's pretty cool as well. That's kind of my speed if I was going to hang out at a bar place.
Geyser Point's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Ryan, any other recent places to talk about here?
Yeah, we always make it a point to go to Topolino's for character breakfast. We went a couple years ago when it used to be all you can eat, and then we went more recently when they kind of shut that down. And both times we really enjoyed the food. Maybe I'm getting older, so I can't eat as much, but I thought that they still offered plenty of food, because you could still order like one more item on the side, and then the kids have a great time there. The ambience is great, and it's one of the best breakfasts, I think, on property.
Oh, well, it's good to know you can still order a side one. I've always thought that was the best breakfast on property. And we recently did Ohana a couple weeks ago when the family was in town for breakfast. And it was my daughter brought her boyfriend, and it was his first trip to Walt Disney World. So we had to take him to a character meal and Ohana and Mickey waffles, and he enjoyed it. And it was a really good, solid Disney breakfast, a solid Disney character meal. But I still think Topolino's has got the better breakfast. I hands down, it's not even a question anymore.
I just can't eat that much food for breakfast anymore. It's just too much, and I feel like Topolino's for breakfast anyway. I'd rather pick quality over quantity. I'm sure Boma's is great in some of those other places, but
Yeah, Topolino's has a great steak or they had a great steak for breakfast.
yeah, they still have it. They
Did you still have it? Yeah, it went
you
away
can
for a
get
little
that.
bit.
You can get the
Right.
steak and also a side of waffles or something. I
Oh,
think that's what
fantastic.
my wife got. Yeah.
Now that I'm happy. Yeah, that place is really good for that.
But before, I remember a couple years ago, we had like our entree and like 5 other different sides. It was kind of ridiculous. I can see
Yeah.
why they got
Yeah.
rid of that policy and kept it to just one extra side. But it's
Yeah.
still a great place to eat, and I think it's
Yeah.
still a very hard reservation to get.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you just got to be on it and look for cancellations and all of that. So
Yeah.
I can usually find it when I want it, but like I said, I don't really go all that often unless somebody says, "Hey, let's meet there," and can you book it? Well, okay, I'll find it and I'll go kill it. But that's where Mouse Dining comes in and a couple of those other cool sites like that. So
Do you still meet up with people at Magic Kingdom?
I will if that's where people want to meet. If they do, that's my least favorite park to get to, simply because if I'm sitting on my couch and decide, I want to go to Magic Kingdom, it's usually over an hour before I'm inside Magic Kingdom, where I can say, I want to be at Epcot, and within 20 minutes I'm inside Epcot or Hollywood or Animal Kingdom. So, but it's just by the time you park, you ride the tram, you ride the monorail, or take the boat, and then you go all the way around the lake, and then you walk forever to get in and band in. It's an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny that being a dining show, we haven't talked about any places in Magic Kingdom.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, that's because
unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, I have to say though, it's quick service, but I really liked Columbia Harbor House.
Yes, actually, we went there on our VIP tour. Remember?
Yeah,
that was good. I got the lobster roll.
Yeah, the lobster roll. Like lobster
and there's plenty of room to sit. Yeah,
it's not a big.
Is nice.
Lobster rolls aren't a big thing here in Hawaii, so I never get to really eat it.
I enjoyed it,
but over there,
it's fun you say that.
I really like it.
Yeah. If I had to pick one, that'd be the place too, because otherwise it's all the same stuff. But I was surprised when I walked in there and they had that. And we just got out of the rain. We're like, let's eat because it's pouring like crazy. And then we ordered some food. We walked upstairs, had a little corner by ourselves. It was actually a nice experience.
Yeah, that upstairs area is huge. It's spacious. I never felt crowded.
No, not at all.
That whole area of the Magic Kingdom, I really like, because we don't have that at Disneyland. That side of the park.
Yeah. Dan Kenny is another Horizon West resident. Says it's a rough life, isn't it? Talking about the Magic Kingdom and the hour to get there. So it certainly is.
First world problems.
Yeah, let's transition over to this, because as Dave pointed out, I can go eat at any of these places. So I know Summer House on the Lake is on our list to do a review. I was just waiting for somebody to say, hey, let's go there. And we'll definitely come back in and stop in on that and check it out, because it's a newer place that's opened up right next to Haleo and Disney Springs. But is there any other places that opened up or something that you want my take on that you'd like me to go check out? I don't mind going over there. What's that?
Boma.
No, you're saying that because you're coming to Dave and you want me to go with you. So
okay, I'll go.
Yeah. And so somebody on Facebook says Dave can buy me dinner at Columbia Harvey House again anytime. So.
Anytime you want, buddy. I had a great time. That was a nice comment. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
I will say, I haven't been to Space 220. How have either of you been?
We have. It again, it falls into my super expensive. So my kids and my wife love the place, and they talk about going there every single time.
That's
issue is this
reservation. Sorry.
Yeah, this last trip, they were here for a week, and only one day they were allowed to go into the park due to the AP blackouts. And so we picked Magic Kingdom and not Epcot. So they did not get to go to Space 220. But the next time they're here, Jared, I will definitely be back at Space 220. I liked it. I thought it was expensive, but I thought the atmosphere was well worth it. I thought the food quality was on par as well. And I had nothing but great things to say about the entire restaurant, start to
that's
finish,
awesome.
service, everything, the views, the creativity of what they've done in there with those windows and in the computer graphics, like you're looking out into a space, is just incredibly phenomenal. Can't say enough great things about it. And if you can do it, do it. The other thing my wife would tell you is if you could get a reservation for the bar, you can sit at the bar, turn your back to the bar and look out the windows, and then you can order a la carte things, and you don't have to get the whole plated three-course
Gotcha.
meal thing.
Gotcha.
And
Hey, Ryan, do the kiddos want to say hello? They're
My
more than welcome
son
to.
wants me to play some Minecraft Dungeons with him. I've been promising
That's
him all
cute.
day. So.
Okay, just make
But no, speaking of Space 220, we had reservations, but we really wanted to go to that lounge part of it because we didn't really want to pay for the three-course meal with our kids, and so we ended up canceling. But I do want to try it just for the ambiance.
Yeah,
but all
absolutely.
the reviews that you hear, you just say the food is okay and the experience is good, and I don't know if I want to fork over $250 for something like that.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
I thought the food was really good. Now, the bad part of it was my mom didn't see anything that she wanted, so she paid like $75 for chicken fingers because it's the three-course entree deal, because we did not go up at the bar. And
That's
so
criminal.
$75 for chicken fingers and fries is a bit hard to swallow at Disney World. And
I will say, talking all this, and I don't know how other people feel about it, but I booked my trip to Disney, and the most exciting part for me is booking the reservations for dinner. So I think about what we're going to be doing the days we're there, which is usually just relaxing. But I call my sister, I talk to my mom, the boys, because everybody's a foodie in my family, and very young. The kids were very open to eating, trying new things. So I'd ask everybody what they like, what's their favorite. You see what's available, and then when it starts to get a little tighter, we go through and then you pick the next best thing if you can't get what you want, and then you go back, and that's just so much fun for me, and it gives me something so much to look forward to in our trips. So I just didn't know how everybody does their way or what they think.
Us too. I mean, I think you got the 11-month, the 7-month, the 60-day. That's one of the highlights of preparing for your upcoming trip that you've been planning forever. And yeah, it's definitely exciting.
yeah, definitely. So Jared, when you're here in June, hit me up with an IM or something along those lines. I will be glad to meet you at Sanaa and give you your personal expertise, service, and explanation of it all. And we'll break bread together, my friend. And then sounds like Dan's going to bring us a cake at the same time as well. So I'm in for that as well. And then Mark Allers is saying, is Hoopty-Doo a must? He goes, he has a reservation for his March trip.
I haven't done it. I want to do it so bad. I heard it's wonderful. Not even so much the food, just the experience. I think Mark, you're going to have a great, great, great time. Absolutely.
Mark, the dinner show and the food that goes with it is a phenomenal hootin', hollering, hooping it up good time. Okay. The food quality, it's okay. I like it so much that I usually eat enough that I get sick because it's like fried chicken and ribs. And then I think you can get mashed potatoes sometimes or corn. Maybe if you get vegetarian. This is what I would tell you to do there. Order one person vegetarian at your table, and then you'll get to try everything. And then because it's family style, so they'll bring out a family style like vegetarian platter. And if you don't have one person ordering vegetarian, they will not bring you corn. We learned that on my last trip, and we promised my little guy corn, and nobody ordered vegetarian, and they would not bring him any. We were so upset.
Makes no sense.
It's just like
so silly. Go grab 3 pieces, put it in a bowl, and bring it to the table.
Bring a kid serving of a side of corn. Just make
you just
kid
paid
happy.
$500 for a show. Come on.
Yeah,
is the food at Hoop-Dee-Doo similar to Whispering Canyon?
That's what I was going to ask you. Was it the same?
It was the same as like Crockett's Tavern as well. And seeing that we're here, Dave, we'll go ahead and cover this. David, I did go over to Crockett's Tavern.
What's Crockett's Tavern?
It's the place next door that we tried that was going out. Is switching from a sit down restaurant to like a quick serve or something.
What was it called? Do you remember before?
I think Crockett's Tavern is this one, but there was a restaurant right there.
Yeah,
It was,
it's a quick
they shared the
service
same
now.
kitchen as Hoop. And so Dave and I went before they were closing and going and having our goodbyes. The food and everything was horrible. And we were
terrible.
like, okay, we don't feel bad about you closing anymore. Like
It was like 2 weeks before they were closing the restaurant to turn it into a quick service.
Yeah. And I don't know if they just like shut down or started worrying about food supply then and whatever, but okay.
Because we really enjoyed it the last time before that we were there. Remember, we were there with Drew.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I think they were done with it themselves. It was bad.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then has Cinderella's Castle or Be Our Guest up their game to make it worth it? I have not been to Cinderella's Castle since probably 5 years. When my girls aged out of that, we kind of said, okay, we're not paying that price to come back anymore. And then once Be Our Guests went to like the more expensive dinner menu, that kind of fell off of our list as well because we had done it enough times. But I can't imagine that any of those like mass plated foods are going to have the quality you're looking for with dining rooms that big serving that many people. It's just not my traditional experience with that. It's more like a wedding buffet type quality food is what I think you're getting at both of those, just due to the sheer volume of plates they have to serve. And yeah, that's kind of my take on it, Jared, but I could be wrong. I'd be curious if another listener has been and can make a comment on that. We're definitely going to do Summer House on the Lake. And
tell them to say hello.
You're getting photo bombed by your family here, right?
Hi there.
Say hi, Jayla.
Okay. Well, it's time we let you get back to your father's duties, and
that's so sweet.
So everybody seems to want you back at that. And we're about the end of our showtime anyway. So I want to give thanks to Rye and Dave for joining us tonight to come back in and talk about food here. And
glad to be here.
Yeah. One last comment from Dan. Based on food, no, you can't beat the atmosphere and character experience. That's what you're paying for.
Agreed.
Great reminder there, Dan.
There's the family.
Yeah. And so, Rye, thank you for you and your family for joining us tonight. You guys, can you wave? Can they hear me? Wave. So,
hey, guys.
So, okay. Well, I look forward to meeting you guys at Alani. And if not, I will definitely catch up with you on your next trip here as well, Rye.
Dole Whips. Hit me up.
Yep. Dole Whips. We will definitely come back in and hit you up. And we might even take you up on an offer to figure out the best shave ice on the island of Oahu as well.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Cool. All right, you guys have a wonderful
night.
It's Minecraft
Dungeons time.
Yeah. Good night. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks. A huge shout out of thanks to our sponsors over at World of DVC, including DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store, and Monera Financial. And a huge shout out of thanks as well to all of our Patreon subscribers. Hopefully you learned something in our conversation tonight that'll help you go out there and plan something magical and tasty on your next Walt Disney World vacation. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great night.
You too.
Good night.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.